Hi everyone and welcome to... On this video I will tell you how I made Marie Antoinette paper doll. Heavily papier-mâché based, there are a number of other materials within the dolls, and everything starts by a wire structure which is wrapped on toilet paper and glue. For this case, Marie Antoinette being a lady and once there is no need for legs, I normally use to make only halves, which is funny because they look like little stars. Afterwards, some time ago, I thought about using some rests of expandable foam and carve some forms or shapes, whatever the word is, and do some skirts. So this one is, for example, a wide panier kind of skirt that then afterwards, of course, I use to fill it with the paper and glue, and then I have the skirt. As you can see on this photo, I already have the skirt attached to the rest of the, let's say, the upper body of the figure. The skirt then is redesigned in order to match the whole thing, and whilst this whole thing dries, I tend to work on the face. For me, faces are always the worst of the worst. No, hands are the worst of the worst, but they are also the best of the best, because that struggle really makes everything a bit more exciting, although whilst doing it I don't really feel excited. It's more like, want to finish it. But anyway, on this doll the face was done in the end. The next step for me was to work on the skirt. This doll was, as you know, inspired by the portrait of Marie Antoinette being by Elisabeth Vigée-Lebrun, who was her court portrait at the time. Her first portrait by her, in fact. And I didn't want to copy because I think it's impossible and pointless, but I wanted to give a kind of sense between this painting and the portrait, and who is on the portrait, the Queen of France. Plus, this is not my first Marie Antoinette. I made one, I think it was early in this year, so I already knew somehow where things were. So that took me to attack the skirt with some sort of ease, and yeah. So here with simple newspaper I made the 3 stages of the skirt and then arranged them, let's say the puffs, with toilet paper soaked in glue. Then with a bit of toilet paper and modeling paste I reworked the corset kind of area. After leaving a bit to dry, I painted the whole thing, as you can see already, because I want to see the effect and where one needs to add more paper or not. Here on this photo you can see already, of course, also that I've already sketched the wig and the golden trimmings and the bows. Those trimmings, the bows, and then the mantle is made out of simple used printing paper, which were assembled accordingly. All the lace within the dress, the wig, the hat and the plume, the feathers, are toilet paper soaked in glue. For the curls on the wig, I was a bit nervous due to its size, but I thought about, as I used to do for the bigger ones, to grab a thin toilet paper roll and on this tool to go around this and create this curl thing and put some glue and even with some patch in one of the sides not to be seen, and then take it out and one gets the curl, and thus I got or I achieved making all the curls she has on the glue on the wig, and they were rather interesting and they look rather cute. Speaking of cute, la cerise sur le gâteau was, of course, the face and the hands. The face, working with faces, it's material-wise at least, it's rather instinctive. I either use air drying modeling paste, toilet paper, or even the friend I've talked about some videos ago, this bitumen thing that dries rather fast, and after drying one can sand and gets really smooth. And again, working in order to portray someone that one wants, it's quite a challenge, and it's interesting, an interesting challenge, and I can't really say how I do it because it's instinctive. Either I use toilet paper rolls to create some features and then smear it on the existing structure and then cover it with either that bitumen or modeling paste, depends upon how I feel at the moment. And the hands, it's the same actually. There is a sketch with toilet paper where I somehow sketch the positions of the fingers, and then I cover it. In this case, I covered with bitumen, which afterwards was dried, and I just sanded a bit. The base I used cardboard, which then was covered with some bitumen and sanded. For the feet I used newspaper rolls, which I glued onto the cardboard and then covered with bitumen, onto which I glue again thin toilet paper rolls, paint in yellow, and then give some highlights with some metallic gold. Afterwards, after checking if everything's painted accordingly with acrylic paint and never with watercolor, I just give a layer of water-based varnish. Water-based varnish is some of my also recent discoveries. It dries really fast. It's not very glossy, so it doesn't give a kind of fake kind of aspect to it, and only has one negative aspect, which is again I can't paint anything with watercolor, because if I paint with watercolor whilst applying the varnish, the watercolor disappears. So that's why I've accentuated the acrylic thing. That's it, I guess. It's been, 10-11 minutes of video. to explain some, let's say, days of work. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll try to make other videos upon other dolls I may do. And also I'm also feeding another channel on YouTube with the dolls, but with a kind of not very artistic kind of subject, more about who the person was and link it to Portugal's history. Writing the link of that channel below, and thanking you for watching this video for art's sake, I give mes adieux. Adieu.